tell I'm on air. And because I'm a very visual person, I brought along a little chart that I use in some of my workshops, because there are lots of needs mentioned here. So thank you, Lionel, for introducing us to the concept of needs, which is central to nonviolent communication or compassionate communication. The understanding is that everything that we do in order to meet a need. And often what I do in these 12-minute sessions is to give you an overview of what nonviolent communication is. And today I decided I'd focus on one particular aspect of it. I thought that might be interesting and fun. And the aspect that I'd like to focus on is the how NVC helps us to resolve conflicts. And I think for all of us, if we're in a conflict or have experienced a conflict, we realise that it's very energy draining. Anybody relate to that at all? And it's stressful and it's far from joyful. So what inspired me today is I had a phone call from a participant who'd been to one of my workshops, and she said, "I just had to ring you up, I'm so excited." So because my boyfriend and I, we were in a conflict and we resolved it in 3 minutes. And so she said, "I just had to tell you about it." And I said, "Oh, please do." Because that's the juice that keeps me going, is getting the feedback from people about what I'm doing. And I'm sure that's true for Rothy and other people who are doing this kind of work. And so she said, "Well, I came home from work, I was really tired, and my boyfriend had been at home all day, and I went into my room and I just got under the sheets and I just wanted to, have quiet and peace and no connection, no contact." And he said, "Oh, I've got some really great videos that I found when I was Googling that I'd love to show you." And so she said, what it looked like was that our needs might be in conflict. And in NVC, we talk about that needs are never in conflict. It's at the strategy level that the conflict occurs. And so this is a really significant difference with other communication processes. So this is my anger iceberg. It's a little chart over there. And that, so conflict occurs over here at the strategy level. So I think that even that is important for us to be able to take away. And that what we want to be able to do is to identify what the needs are that are behind the strategy. So her strategy was to go to bed and rest, and so she actually had a need for rest and relaxation. And his need was for contact and connection. And so once the needs are out on the table, she said, we explored that. So I said, she gave him some empathy. "Sounds like you're really, really wanting some contact. You've been on your own all day. And I'm really wanting some rest. So what can we do?" So this is the beauty of identifying things coming down to the needs level, is that now we can find a strategy that meets both sets of needs. And she said, he offered to give me a massage. And so she said, "It's so wonderful because I got my need met for rest and relaxation, and he got his need met for contact." So this is the beauty of identifying things at a needs level rather than getting stuck at a strategies level. And what often happens, as I've noticed for me and for other people, is that if we're not able to resolve something, pretty much we're attached to a strategy. And we haven't unpacked it to the underlying need that strategy would meet. So you can kind of, look at this in reverse. And in our workshops, and I'm doing an intro soon, we hand out some need sheets because we want to be able to embody, to really be able to understand what our needs are, universal human needs. And this is central to this particular communication process. That's also a way of being in the world. It's actually much more than a communication process. so to become familiar, we suggest that people hang needs sheets up, the back of the loo door and on the refrigerator. We've got little cards that we sell downstairs that have feelings and needs on them. And somebody once at a workshop said, I think I'm going to get them tattooed on the insides of my eyelids. So lots of fun, creative solutions that often turn up. And so the other piece that I wanted to say about this is that when we're stuck at the strategy level and not able to identify needs, and what's often happening is, and I'm sure that particularly people at the back up here won't be able to see this, but this is a big revelation that we make in compassionate communication, is that we start to use words that we might call feeling words, but they're actually what we call fake feelings. And they're words like, I'm feeling unappreciated. Her boyfriend might have said, I'm feeling rejected or abandoned. And these words are projecting motivation onto the other person, that somehow they're trying to do something harmful to me. And so this is a really, again, a big revelation that often people get in our workshops. Wow, so I'm telling myself a story that this person's doing something to me. And so we have a list of those too that we hand out and that people find really useful. So things like rejected, unheard, let down, left out, unappreciated, unrecognised. So those words are often there. And what they are is they're telling that other person, you are doing something to me, rather than really revealing how I'm feeling. So on this chart here, we have some more primary feelings underlying this, rather than these feelings that contain thoughts. And they're words like, I'm feeling sad, or lonely, or maybe I'm feeling afraid. So we want to, part of what we do is get to what we might call primary feelings, rather than the feeling words that contain thoughts about what somebody's doing to us, the judgments about them, because immediately we're going to exacerbate the conflict. We're just going to make things worse. And then once we've identified what our feelings are, and even some of these words here point us to, so these are gems, little treasure chests. We don't want to be going, don't use that fake feeling word. We want to use them to understand what the needs are that they're pointing to. So if somebody says, I'm feeling left out, they have a need for, any guesses? Inclusion. If they're feeling scared, or if they're feeling, let down. Somebody's saying, I'm feeling let down. What might be the need behind that? Support. They're wanting support. And so even when we hear other people or ourselves using these faux feeling words, then we know that's pointing to a need. So this is another doorway to develop a needs literacy or a needs consciousness, to start to embody the language of needs in our not only in our everyday conversations and at an interpersonal level, but at an intrapersonal level. So it's very soothing for us to be able to recognise, wow, so, right now I'm feeling sad and I'm really wanting, and lonely, I'm wanting some company. So even that helps us to kind of get calm and do some breathing. Sitting up the back breathing like crazy with Rothy's suggestions, because I've had a busy morning and kind of rushed in here. So very much required. And this is a big part of what we do too. It's like, let's take some time and let's breathe. And if we catch ourselves having this kind of thinking, then what's underneath it? What is it what is giving rise to it? So we want to always be able to drop down to the needs level as much as possible. So I'm wondering if there are any questions about that, if I've sparked your curiosity sufficiently to have any questions or clarifications about this idea. Okay, I've got another couple of minutes. We've got about 2 more minutes, I think. That's the 10-minute signal. Yeah, anything? Okay. Trying to think of an example. Okay, I can think of it. I'm a grandmother, so beware. People who've worked with me know that they have to be careful, because I'm a besotted grandmother. And I have a now 11-year-old grandson who often gives me wonderful examples of living this kind of way of being in the world. And recently we were doing something together and I made a suggestion about something that we might do, and he said, well, actually, Nanny, I don't think I really want to do that. I said, that's fair enough. And he said, you know, sometimes I don't want to say no to people. I said, oh, why is that? He said, because I might hurt their feelings. And I said, oh, that's fantastic. You know, here's an 11-year-old boy considering that, you know, being aware of his communication or thinking about his communication or what's happening for him, to the extent that he's even aware that he might hurt somebody's feelings. And he said, and you know what, I've decided that it's really important for me to be able to say no. And so I'm doing this little celebration. You can just imagine. We're driving along and he's in the back seat. So we're driving along and I'm celebrating, yay, because I've got this beautiful young person. And this is what drives me, of course, is that I need to be able to, I want to do this work and I want to spread this work because I want to make your lives easier. As you know, this way of being in the world has made my life easier, and I've been able to work with children as well. So that's the real inspiration. So thank you all very much. I hope that is in some way helpful to you. Thank you.